My name is Celestine Draper. I'm 72 years old. I spent 31 years running a school district outside Knoxville, raised 2 kids mostly on my own, and when my husband passed 4 years ago, I thought that chapter of my life, the chapter with a partner in it, was closed for good. And then it wasn't. I met someone, good man, steady, kind, funny, and things got serious faster than I expected. We started talking about the future. And I will be honest with you, I was swept up in it. I hadn't felt that way in years, and part of me didn't want to slow down long enough to think. Thank God my sister did. She's a paralegal. She sat me down at my kitchen table, made me a cup of coffee and said, "Celestine, before you do anything, we need to talk about what this actually means for your money." I did not want to have that conversation. I thought it was cold. I thought it meant I didn't trust him. I almost told her to mind her own business. I'm so glad I didn't. Because what she walked me through, step by step, while I wrote it all down on a legal pad that is still sitting in my kitchen drawer to this day, changed how I approached everything that came after. It protected me. And it protected him too, once he understood what we were actually talking about. That's what I want to do for you today. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Celestine, this feels cold. This feels like I don't trust him. I hear you. I said the same thing to my sister. But stay with me, because what I'm going to walk you through isn't about trust. It's about information. And information protects everybody at this table. Before we get into the steps, here's the first thing I want you to do right now, before this video is even over. Go find your most recent Social Security statement. If you don't have a paper copy, you can create a free account at ssa.gov and pull it up there. What I need you to look at is your benefit amount and, this is the important part, whose record you're collecting on. Your own or your late husband's. Write that down. Because everything I'm about to tell you starts there. Now let me explain why remarrying after 65 is financially different from remarrying at 40, and why so few people talk about this clearly. When you were younger, merging your life with someone mostly meant combining your incomes, your expenses, maybe your households. It was complicated, sure, but the systems involved were relatively straightforward. At this stage of life, it's different. Your finances aren't just a bank account and a paycheck anymore. They're tied to systems, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid eligibility, your pension if you have one, your estate plan. These systems were built around you as an individual or around your previous marriage. And when you remarry, your legal relationship to all of them can shift, sometimes immediately, sometimes in ways that don't show up until years later, when you're least able to deal with them. He's a good man. I want to say that clearly. This is not about him being a bad person or having bad intentions. My partner is a good man. This is about the systems. Think of it like merging 2 older houses into one. It's not just about whether you like each other's furniture. It's about whether the foundations are compatible, and whether there's anything in his basement you don't know about yet. That's what these conversations are for. Okay, that's the background. Now here's what you actually need to do, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. The first conversation, your Social Security situation. This one matters more than most women realize, and the answer is different depending on your specific situation. If your late husband's Social Security benefit was higher than yours, there's a good chance you're currently collecting what's called a survivor benefit, meaning you're receiving payments based on his earnings record, not yours. That's not unusual. A lot of women in their late 60s and 70s are in exactly this situation. Here's what you need to know. If you are currently collecting a survivor benefit and you remarry before age 60, that benefit stops. Gone. Now, most of you watching are past 60, so that cutoff doesn't apply. But, and this is the part people miss, the rules around income combined household calculations, and future benefit adjustments are specific to your situation. You cannot rely on general information for this one. Let me give you a real example of why the numbers matter. Let's say your late husband's benefit was $2,000 a month, and your own earned benefit is $1,400. If you're collecting on his record, that's a $600 a month difference. $600. Over the course of a year, that's $7,200. You need to know exactly what you're collecting and why before you make any decision. So here's what I want you to do. Write this down. This is the one where I really need you to take out a pen. Call Social Security directly. The number is 1-800-772-1213. When someone answers, say exactly this. I am currently receiving Social Security benefits and I'm considering remarriage. Can you tell me specifically how remarriage would affect my current benefit amount? They can look at your actual record and give you your actual answer, not a general one, yours. That call takes maybe 15 minutes, and it could be worth hundreds of dollars a month for the rest of your life to know the answer before you decide anything. The second conversation, your pension if you have one. This one surprises people. A lot of women assume that once they're receiving their pension, it's theirs, full stop, no matter what else happens in their life. And sometimes that's true, but sometimes it isn't. Some pensions, particularly government, teacher, and civil service pensions, include provisions that reduce or terminate survivor benefits or other allowances upon remarriage. It varies by plan, by state, and by how your benefit is structured. I cannot tell you which category yours falls into, but you need to find out. Call your pension administrator. The number should be on your most recent pension statement. Ask them directly, does remarriage affect my current benefit or any provisions of my pension in any way? Then ask them to send you that answer in writing. Not because you don't believe them, but because you need documentation you can keep. The third conversation, his financial picture, now. This is the conversation most couples skip because it feels intrusive. It feels like you're auditing him instead of loving him. I understand that feeling. But here is what I need you to understand. You are not just merging hearts. You are potentially merging legal and financial profiles. And there are things in his financial picture that could directly affect your financial security. Not because he's hiding them, but because people often don't know their own complete picture. What you need to know: his current debt load, including any property liens or outstanding loans. His Medicare situation, specifically, does he have high retirement income that puts him in what's called an IRMAA bracket, meaning he pays more than the standard Medicare premium? That matters because household income calculations can affect both of you. Whether he has long-term care insurance, and whether his estate plan, his will, his beneficiary designations, has been updated recently. That last one, his beneficiary designations. People forget about these for decades. His ex-wife may still be named as the beneficiary on a life insurance policy or a retirement account. That is not an accusation. It is a thing that happens constantly. Here's how I'd frame this conversation if you're not sure how to start it. You say, I want to be completely open with you about my finances, and I'd like us to look at both of our pictures together. Not because I don't trust you, but because I think we both deserve to know what we're actually building on. Then you share yours, and you ask him to share his. Specifically, ask to see his most recent Medicare summary notice and his last 3 years of tax returns. That combination will tell you a great deal about his income, his healthcare costs, and his financial patterns. I want to tell you about my friend Paulette. She remarried at 69. Wonderful man. She was happy. Her whole family celebrated. Nobody had the financial conversation. 2 years later, her husband was diagnosed with early-stage dementia. By the time he needed memory care, which runs anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 a month, depending on where you live, the financial reality of their marriage became very complicated very fast. Which brings me to the conversation most people have never even heard of. The fourth conversation: Medicaid and long-term care exposure. Stay with me here. I know this sounds like the scary part, but I'd rather you know this now than find out the way Paulette did. When one spouse needs Medicaid to help cover nursing home or memory care costs, Medicaid looks at the combined assets of the couple, not just the sick spouse's assets. The spouse who's still at home, called the community spouse, is protected up to a limit, but that limit is set by your state, and in many states it is significantly less than what you might currently have in savings, investments, or home equity. There's also a 5-year look-back period. That means if assets were moved or transferred in the 5 years before a Medicaid application is filed, Medicaid can still count them. This is not a loophole you can plan around at the last minute. This is exactly why I want you to sit down with an elder law attorney before you agree to remarry. Not a general estate attorney, an elder law attorney who specifically understands Medicaid planning. Many offer free or low-cost initial consultations. One conversation with the right person could save you tens of thousands of dollars in planning and protection. You can find an elder law attorney through the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. The website is naela.org. You put in your zip code and it gives you attorneys in your area. That's where I'd start. The fifth conversation: what a prenuptial agreement actually is. The word prenup makes people uncomfortable. It sounds like you're planning for the marriage to fail before it starts. That is not what it is. At this stage of life, a prenuptial agreement is a documented understanding of what stays separate and what becomes shared. It typically protects your home, your savings, your pension, and your children's inheritance. It can also protect him, and explaining it that way often makes the conversation easier. I want to make sure your kids are protected too. I want us both to be clear. An elder law attorney can draft one. The cost varies, but it is a fraction of the financial exposure it can prevent. And a good man, a man who actually wants to build something real with you, will understand why you want it. We're almost through the practical part, but I want to save a moment for the most important protection of all. And this one applies whether you decide to marry or not. The mistake that catches women off guard: the estate documents. In most states, when you marry, your new spouse automatically acquires certain legal rights to your estate, regardless of what your existing will says. Your will, as written before the marriage, may not fully protect your children's inheritance without explicit legal language accounting for the new marriage. Beyond that, your beneficiary designations on your retirement accounts, your life insurance, your bank accounts, do not automatically update when you write a new will. They are separate, and they override your will. Whatever name is on that beneficiary line is who gets that money, period. So here is what I need you to do, regardless of where your relationship stands right now. Pull out your will. Pull out every account that has a beneficiary designation. Look at the names on those documents. Make sure they reflect what you actually want to happen. And if you get serious with someone, whether you marry or not, update them. Do this within 90 days of making any major commitment. Don't let it wait. Now, I know that was a lot. Let me bring it down to what I actually need you to do. 1. Pull your Social Security statement and find out whose record you're collecting on and what your monthly amount is. 2. Call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 and ask specifically how remarriage would affect your benefit. 3. If you have a pension, call your administrator and get the remarriage question answered in writing. 4. Before you agree to remarry, sit down with an elder law attorney. One conversation. Naylor.org to find one near you. 5. Ask to see his financial picture, Medicare notices, tax returns, debt. Share yours too. Do this before any legal commitment. 6. Update your will and every beneficiary designation. No matter what you decide, you can love someone completely and still protect yourself completely. Those two things are not in conflict. The women who have the hard conversations before they sign anything, those are the women who build something real, instead of discovering the complications 2 years in, when the options are far more limited. This is not about fear. This is about being somebody that nobody can take advantage of, even by accident, even by a good man who simply didn't know what he didn't know. Now, I always say this, and I mean it. I am not a financial advisor, and I am not an attorney. I'm a woman who almost learned this the hard way and is very glad she didn't. Please talk to an elder law attorney and a financial professional about your specific situation before you make any decisions. Your situation is yours. The details matter. If this helped you think more clearly about something you've been putting off, share it with a woman you know who might need to hear it. And subscribe. I put out new ones every week.